Good morning. Mr.
Morning,
Parnell.
Mr. Chairman, committee. My name's Ed Parnell. My wife and I are residents of Nampa in Canyon County. We're both retired from the workforce, but over the last 20 years, we've built a small residential family operation of rentals in basically Canyon County. The reason I'm here is I'm not going to give personal testimony on my part for the exact dollar amount of my total tax bill, which for the most part, as we understand business, really ends up being passed along to my residents. But I am here to talk about, and I think some of the best wisdom so far this morning was likening the current Idaho property tax system to Johnny Cash's Cadillac, because that's what we're facing. And I come many years back. I've been here long enough that I am 14 years past the immigration license plates from the state to the left. And so I've experienced some of the travesties of the taxpayer revolts that ended up with many unknown and unseen consequences, second and third order consequences of decisions. And is expressed by the frustrations of some ordinary citizens, which are very compelling on their own. I believe that this body of legislators, if they can come together and have a meaningful interaction with the major stakeholders, can craft a better solution than angry taxpayers lashing out with a Prop 13 type remedy. In 1978, it seems by reading the history that Idaho citizens passed an initiative that was virtually very similar to Californians. It took the legislators, as I understand it, 4 years to undo and recoup an ill-thought-out plan. So my pitch today is that I believe that this is truly simply a pause button, a time for a reset. Right on the face of the bill, it is declaring that it's an emergency, it's temporary, and it's a pause. It is a chance to take stakes, to take some action, to get started on this process. I am not going to attempt to demean or disparage any of our elected county or city officials. And I understand their professional challenges at crafting their budget could be very challenging in the face of a freeze. However, I'd like them to remember that their budgets are wholly coming from the household budgets of the citizens who do not have the luxury of hiring auditors and consultants to go through and say, this is how we can solve the problem. So I believe that if all that was passed is House Bill 409, it would be a failure. This is simply a starting point where we need to bring the stakeholders together. Now, in front of me, I have what has been publicly presented already this year from the city of Nampa, who, as I understand it from the media reports, has concern about we're heading the way of Rome and burning and infrastructure will crumble if we have a freeze. This budget, which is put forth and publicly presented and it is preliminary, and I'm not intending to claim that this is the end deal, but at the very first outlet this month, they've already said Nampa property taxes, 5.9% increase. Right off the bat, that's what's printed there. That in total is going from 42.1 million in property taxes to 44.6 million for the city of Nampa, a $2.47 million increase, which is what they don't want to be frozen and go away. I would like to put that in perspective. From all sources, fees, and taxes, Nampa's budget on this same document is to be increased by 12.3%. So what we're asking them in the big picture, that increase of property taxes that could be temporarily held constant for only 1 year while more dialogue can happen, that is of their total budget revenue services projected for fiscal 2020, that is 1.27%. Let's call it 1.3. That means we're asking the city of Nampa to make do with a net 11% increase in revenue for next year. I find that difficult to say with a straight face when virtually every state agency, save K-12 education, is facing a 2% decrease. Is there a logic and a management team in private business that couldn't say, oh, we have to shave our income from 12.3 to 11 and make it happen? I believe it can, and this bill 409 is a step in the right direction to hit the pause button temporarily and move forward with some meaningful discussion. Impact fees, other sources of revenue have to be taken into account and looked at as part of the puzzle, and I think we need to move beyond Johnny Cash's Cadillac. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parnell. Any questions? Representative Moyle.
Mr. Chairman, just one comment. Ditto. And have you ever thought about running for the legislature? You make really good sense, and the hard part is when we have these discussions, everybody gets caught up in the minutia and the motion. A lot of the members of this committee will vote not on what's right, but on a motion. And I want to thank you for your comments. You put the facts out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parnell. Thanks for coming.